a movie called Civil War, which I saw. Here's the trailer for it.
States have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay up.
I'm just gonna get it out of the way. He's so sexy. And he's great in this. Anyways.
With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against Americans?
I swear I did not know until this rollout for this film that Alex Garland wrote 28 days later. I never knew that. I never knew that. Like, I saw that movie like in high school and I just don't remember a thing from. I remember one particular scene where they're in like a dark warehouse and there's zombies running at them. They're inside and there's zombies running at them and it's all VHS style footage. And of course I remember the beginning because it's so funny how it's crazy how that arc 28 days later and then it goes all the way over to where we are now with Civil War. It's like he's still doing the same kind of movie. It's like they emptied the biggest, whatever road in fucking foggy London town to shoot that main bridge. They emptied it to make it look like the town was completely barren at the beginning of that movie. It's very famous. It's crazy he wrote that. Anyways, it's another system has fallen kind of movie.
They're moving to D.C. today.
You need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Bloody.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna get into this one. I'm gonna get into this movie. I'm gonna get into this movie today.
What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
I don't know if I saw this whole trailer, but it is funny how much of this I really didn't see coming or know about, or even though I've seen maybe one trailer, I didn't really all this took me by surprise.
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Yo, True Chains in the chat, spitting something kind of crazy. I really like what you just said. Garland just is so great at capturing the allure and facade of identity. All his films feel like they are always asking questions about who you are versus who you think you are, etc. Yeah, that is so true. I feel that way in Ex Machina as well. It's just there's always a hubris kind of being challenged. We'll get into it. I'm going to keep watching this trailer, but that is a really good point. I love that. It's a good
And
framework
justice for all.
to explore.
God bless America.
Pardon me. Civil War. All right. So, y'all, I saw this. When did I see this? Last weekend? I must have seen it. I feel like this film has just had haters out the gate. This film has had big haters out the gate. The moment the premise of this movie dropped, oh my God. The people on Twitter who thought they were smarter than Alex Garland went fucking ballistic, which, hey, I get that. Feeling like you're smarter than the directors of modern films. I understand that. Because there's not many Scorseses or you know what I mean, of our generation. There's not a lot of brilliant directors, you know what I mean? There are. I'm bullshitting. But I'm just saying, also directors take a minute to mature, but the ones that are mature in making films, it's They're great, but they never feel out of reach intellectually. You know what I'm saying? They feel like, oh yeah, I mean, like, I could get a beer with that guy and wouldn't feel like he, you know. Whereas, like, if I got a beer with Scorsese, he would get really bored with me. I would understimulate him because he knows so much fucking shit. There's probably so many books he's read, so many films he's seen. There'd be so many reference points that I'd fail to understand. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I get thinking you're smarter than Alex Garland, but man, this film got dogpiled the moment they announced what the fuck this thing was gonna be. The film. It's a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie. It's not, no part of this trailer screams like Palme d'Or winning, you know, poetic essay on war. No, this is a thriller. This is a sci-fi apocalyptic thriller. This is a thriller film. This is a high concept premise. What if there was a civil war and you are in the cockpit of that chaos? That's the draw. That is what is selling the tickets so that the company, which is for profit, can then make money, make a profit on the millions they've invested in making and marketing the film. And as an object that is intended to do just that, you could do extremely worse. In my opinion, I think, yes, the Civil War element is baity in the way all films are baity. Do you understand? Like, here's the problem. Here's the problem. A lot of people don't get. Like, I am an anarchist. Okay? The reason I have a black version of this shirt is because I'm an anarchist. I wanted a black version of the shirt because this is an anarchist message. Call me a lifestyle anarchist, call me whatever, call me this, that, and third. It's not a position I hold, it's an awareness I have. In my opinion, anarchism is not a set of beliefs, it's a point that you reach where you realize the multivarious ways you're getting bum rushed and oppressed in your mind and physically, right? I am an anarchist. You can judge me. You're a fake leftist. Blah, blah, blah. You can do whatever you want for the rest of the time. I don't care, right? Here's the point. We live in capitalism. I mean, motherfucker, you think I'm what? You think I'm netting a nothing off this? You think I'm not trying to make money off these? We live under capitalism. Therefore, films getting made only happens through vast spending of money. And unfortunately, the trillionaires of this world are more interested in funding transhumanist, putting a chip in your brain or whatever not transgender. I'm saying transhuman. Do you know what I'm saying? Like turning into a robot. They're more interested in funding that than funding the arts. $1 billion could cover, like, you know, I'm just saying there's rich people out here that could be funding these movies, but unfortunately it's for profit studios that are putting up the money for anyone to make a movie. You understand? And therefore they have influence over the content of the film, as well as how it's marketed and how the script ultimately ends up. It is an extremely rigid business. Hollywood is not interested in taking risks because it's literally a just risk-averse business inherently. And especially now that the people in charge are more business people than creative people, now more than ever, it's getting even more cooked that way. Why do I say all of this? Because sometimes I look at a movie as a product. I can appreciate it at an artistic level. I can infer or I can inspire myself to artistic ideas and concepts by enjoying the inevitable creativity one must have to produce, write, shoot, edit, and market a film. It requires an immense amount of creative skill, right? I can appreciate all that and yet still look at it as a product. I think it is an utter mistake to go at this movie with the political position of how you would approach like Escape from New York, in my opinion, or like Terminator or some shit. Like, I hate to say it, it's really not that deep. You can get deep with it. You certainly can, in my opinion. I think it's what True Chain said is certainly true. putting identity up in front. Our superego, what we think is our identity, is sometimes contradicted or exposed or made to look hypocritical by our actions and by our character and our principles, or at least how our principles or ethics are acted out through our actions, right? So that, I think, is really true. I think it is like good cinema. Truly, I think it's good cinema, even past it being a product. I think it's good cinema. I think the use of sound was fantastic. Let me switch the image up here. This scene, I will say, the beginning, I was a little like, this feels like a YouTube video. Like, what are we doing? Like, this feels like what's going on? But it got better after that. The overall wielding of the sound and the audio and visual medium was done with skill here. The structure and execution of the script is very solid. Very solid. It is a very satisfying film. You get what you came to the movies for. I recommend this book, Save the Cat, to a lot of y'all. It'll really unveil a lot of the structure of how most mainstream films are story produced, like how they are structured. Because, as he says in that book, Blake Snyder, they're emotional mechanisms, they're machines built to manipulate you emotionally and make you feel sad at the right times and happy at the end and satisfied and all that, because things are set up and then they're paid off, and there's very specific structure to that shit. I was entertained by it. I want to see it again. Like, it was entertaining. I would show my girlfriend this movie. I think she would find it entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, I've recommended it to other people. That's how you know you like the movies, when you tell people to go see it. I just like it. I don't know. I know now, before I get into the negative reviews. Okay, I'll keep talking about it though. Before I look up, because I kind of want to look up Alex Garland's interview, because people are getting mad as well, because he keeps saying these very sort of like center left liberal, like, we have to win elections stuff, and it's like, to me, that doesn't disqualify him from making effective cinema, in my opinion. Like, you can have shitty, stupid opinions and still make great films. In my opinion. Is it flawless? No. Like, it's not like, oh, it had a budget. That is clear. You know, there's not like, it's amazing what they did to give it this scale, but it still definitely does feel like you probably could have got someone besides Nick Offerman to be president. Although, you know, that he did okay. I mean, there's not a ton of him in the movie, but yeah. So I guess I'll just to continue my review here, I'll say, you know, like, there's basically a group of photojournalists, war journalists, war photographers, that are kind of bound together. The film kind of starts us at the end of this civil war. So the situation is, the seceding powers from the U.S. are basically an army or a group made up of California and Texas. So they've seceded from the United States. The United States is a psychotic in this world. The president is a psychotic despot, 3 terms, and like, he, you know, never gives up power, and he's a fascist, and he like does airstrikes on his own civilians and stuff. And basically what's happening is, the beginning of the movie is him kind of giving a speech and talking about how they're on the verge of victory, and this is the best victory that he's like practicing. And then it cuts to Kirsten Dunst watching it on the TV. Well, as it turns out, they are almost ready to win the Civil War against the United States. The United States is about to be totally revolted against, and they are going to lose to the Western powers, which is the name of the Western forces, which is the name of this allyship between California and Texas. And so there's a brief scene where there's an explosion, and Kirsten Dunst runs into this younger war photographer who was there and whatever, and then she starts tagging along, and it becomes this road trip movie where they're going to go to DC to interview the president before they invade DC, and it just becomes this kind of travel movie, this road trip movie where they have all these incidents happen to them along the way, and the characters slowly, you know, get to know each other, and this sort of theme of, you know, the ethics of the bystander, which I think are especially prevalent or relevant now. The genocide happening in Gaza, and just the way that has been disseminated visually on the internet and gone viral. You know, the ethics of watching something happening the responsibility of what you're able to see, what you know about, you know what I mean? What we sit and watch happen, how responsible are we for it? You know what I mean? Like in this movie, you know, the photographers are like, hey, I'm here to photograph and capture something and let the world decide whether it's right or wrong. I'm not here to stop anyone from doing anything. And so there's this, I think, a very brilliant graying of morality and a lot of great questions. You know what I mean? And from a script perspective, it's just like the arc of the characters is really solid. I mean, I might have liked to get to know them a bit more, but honestly, Garland's movies, we never really know a lot about the characters' backgrounds. There's like little inkling drops that we get through the dialogue, you know, expositionally, but like I'm thinking Ex Machina, you know, Annihilation. You don't know a lot. You don't see a lot of the characters' backgrounds or history. That you kind of just like, it's like in media res sort of, and with at least with the character's life and mystery to even the protagonist, where you feel detached even from the protagonist of what you're watching. And that is just a slight detachment that I think is pretty brilliant. And I think it also is here in Civil War as well. Yeah, it's just a really exciting movie. And then at a totally surface level, there's just a lot of really just incredibly well done scenes, just very thrilling scenes. The scene, what I was going to say is this scene right here, had no idea how fucking scary this scene was going to be. This comes in the movie. I just thought this scene, the scene where there's the two snipers on the road. There's all kinds of moments. The scene where he's like, look up on the rooftops, but don't be obvious. And the camera just moves, it cranes up just enough just for you to see that there's men with guns at the top of the building. There's a lot of stuff like that. I don't want you to rob yourself of a good time by dismissing this movie, because there is a lot of crap out there, man. There really is. And this is a thrilling one. And the last 30 or 40 minutes, extremely dialed in. We were. And by we, oh no, I did see this with friends. I thought I saw it alone, but I saw it with friends. It's a solid picture. And I just like Garland, man, his intensity, the way he cuts his films and the usage of sound. And yeah, I mean, this guy who shoots his movie, I haven't seen Men. I don't know if I want to see Men, but Annihilation, Ex Machina, Civil War shot those. I mean, it's like he's got a really good cinematographer, and it really gives him this consistent visual style too, which I like. Another thing, all the performances are great in this thing. All the performances are great. Shout out to Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kaylee Spaney, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Nelson Lee, Nick Offerman. All of them did a great job. They all went hard. Kirsten Dunst fucking rules, dude. Kirsten Dunst rules. But I thought, okay, so that's my review of Civil War. I personally gave it a 4 out of 5 star. I'm a little generous with the stars. My 4 is a lot of people's 3. You know what I mean? But allegedly, but I really do think it's a 4 out of 5 star picture. I think it's solid. I think it'll be an interesting one to look back on in the future. I think politically it's asking a lot of questions. I think it's a lot less political than you think. I think it's just an interesting premise and a good story. You know what I mean? An exciting story. Wow, what if the White House was getting, ran over by seceding forces, and there were photographers taking pictures of this event happening in history? I mean, it's entertaining. It's interesting. It's something that you would want to see in a movie. You know what I mean? Or a comic book or something.